Have you ever imagined what it's like to have your greatest joy your child, your reason for being threatened with being taken away from you by a system that values money more than love? Not through negligence, not through abuse, but because someone with an expensive lawyer decided you're not enough. Maya Torres is in the municipal park on a sunny Thursday afternoon. It's her day off, a precious rarity when you work 2 jobs, and she's decided to spend every minute with her daughter, Emma. They're on the swings. Emma is shouting louder, "Mommy," with that childlike laugh that makes all the tiredness, all the struggle, all the overdue bills worthwhile. Maya pushes. She smiles. For a moment, just one perfect moment, she forgets that life is hard. She forgets double shifts. She forgets her small apartment. She forgets her ex-husband, who should pay alimony but rarely does. She simply exists there, on that creaking swing, with her laughing daughter and the warm sun on her shoulders. And then he appears, man in a suit, leather briefcase, professional expression, devoid of emotion. He walks straight towards her with the precision of someone who has done this 1,000 times, who has ruined 1,000 perfect days with words that destroy worlds. Maya Torres. Her heart sinks, because nobody comes to the park in a suit with a briefcase looking for you with good news. Yes, you've been notified. He hands over a white envelope. Official, cold, custody hearing. 10 days. Details are in the document. Good afternoon. And he leaves. He simply leaves, as if he hadn't just dropped a bomb on her life. As if he hadn't handed her a piece of paper that could mean the end of everything Maya has built in the last 2 years since she left Derek. She stands still, envelope in hand, too heavy for what it is, just paper. But paper has power. Paper can take children away from mothers. Paper can transform love into legal inadequacy. Emma stops rocking. Mom, who was that man? Maya looks at her daughter. Big, confident brown eyes. Cheeks still stained with the remnants of ice cream they ate an hour ago. Her hair in uneven braids that Maya had hastily done that morning because she never learned how to make perfect braids. But Emma asked, so she tried. Mommy, Emma insists. Why are you crying? Maya didn't realize she was. She quickly wiped her face. It's nothing, dear. Just dust in my eye. Lies. The first of many you'll have to tell in the coming weeks. Because how do you explain to a 3-year-old that a father who barely visits, who forgets birthdays, who sometimes goes months without calling, has decided he wants custody? Not because he's changed, not because he's suddenly developed paternal instincts, but because he can, because the system allows it. Stay with me until the end, because this story will make you question everything you think you know about justice. Maya takes Emma home in silence. She puts on a cartoon on TV, and finally, with trembling hands, she opens the envelope. Petition for modification of custody. Derek Torres versus Maya Torres. Allegations: financial instability, inadequate environment, inability to provide consistent care. The words blend together. Maya reads 3 times, then 4. Searching for something that makes sense. Why financial instability? She works hard, 2 jobs, pays all the bills. Emma has a roof over her head, food, clothes. She's never lacked anything essential. Inappropriate environment. The apartment is small, but clean, safe, full of love and laughter, and Emma's drawings stuck to the refrigerator. Inability to provide consistent care. Maya is a present mother, every night, every weekend, every fever, every tear, every moment that matters, but then she sees it. At the end of the document, Derek's lawyer's name, Mitchell and Associates. The most expensive firm in the region, the kind that never loses, the kind that turns truth into a weapon and love into technical inadequacy. And Maya understands. For the first time, she truly understands. This isn't about Emma. It's not about being a better father. It's about Derek, a man who always needs to win, who never accepted that Maya had the courage to leave, proving that he still has control. that he can take away from her the only thing that truly matters. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever felt the entire system turning against you, not because you did anything wrong, but because someone with more money decided you were vulnerable enough to attack? Maya picks up the phone. She dials 3 lawyers. They all say the same thing. Custody cases start at $5,000 minimum, and they can reach $20,000-$30,000 if Derek fights. She has $1,200 in savings for emergencies, for when the car breaks down or Emma gets sick. Not to fight for the right to continue being her own daughter's mother. She hangs up. She looks around the room. Emma is lying on the floor, engrossed in drawing, completely oblivious to the storm that is about to devastate their lives. And Maya makes a decision. She will fight, even without money, even without a lawyer, even against a system that favors those with resources over those who only have love. Because giving up is not an option when you're a mother. Giving up means losing a child who is half your soul. But what Maya doesn't know yet, what she can't know as she sits there trying to breathe through the panic, is that someone saw. Someone who understands how the system is broken. Someone who decided that this time, justice will mean more than expensive lawyers, and that someone is about to change everything. Because injustice has a smell. It has a texture. It has a bitter taste that lingers in your mouth when you witness the system failing those who need it most. And for those who have worked long enough in law enforcement, that smell becomes unmistakable. Maya spends the next few days in survival mode. She works. She takes care of Emma. She smiles when she needs to. But at night, when her daughter sleeps, she sits surrounded by papers she doesn't fully understand, trying to decipher legal jargon that seems designed to confuse rather than clarify. The petitioner alleges that the current home environment does not meet the minimum stability standards necessary for the child's healthy development. Younger. They call Emma younger, as if she were the #1 case, not a 3-year-old who loves dinosaurs, is afraid of the dark, and asks her mother to sing the same song every night before bed. Maya underlines phrases. She takes notes. She Googles terms she doesn't know. And slowly, painfully, she begins to understand Derek's strategy. He's not claiming she's a bad mother. He's claiming she is a mother, inadequate, a subtle but devastating difference. Because how do you prove that love compensates for a small apartment? How do you quantify presence against a bank account? If something like this has ever happened to you or someone you know, you've ever faced a legal system that values money over dedication, share it in the comments. Because these stories need to be heard. They need to be witnessed, and you're not alone in this fight. Maya's first attempt to understand the legal process takes place on a Tuesday afternoon. She takes half a day off a loss of pay she can't really afford, and goes to the courthouse, an immense concrete building that seems designed to intimidate. Wide staircases, high ceilings. The echo of footsteps makes everything seem bigger, more threatening, more impossible. She finds an information desk. The woman behind the glass looks bored, staring at a computer screen with an expression that clearly says, "Another problem that isn't mine." "I need information about custody hearings," Maya says, pushing papers through the opening. The woman glances briefly. "Do you have a lawyer?" "No, I can't pay. The public defender's office doesn't cover family cases unless there's documented domestic violence." "Do you have that?" "No. I mean, there was emotional abuse, but not physical." "Then you'll need to represent yourself or find a pro bono lawyer. The list of resources is right there." She points to a wall covered in faded pamphlets. "But I don't understand the legal terms. I don't know how the cool library is on the 2nd floor." "Good luck." And that's it. Conversation over. Next person in line. Maya grabs some flyers, all for services, with months-long waiting lists or requirements she doesn't meet, and heads upstairs to the legal library. Small room. Bookshelves covered with thick books with intimidating titles. 2 desks. And no one to help. Just the expectation that ordinary citizens can navigate a system built by and for lawyers. Maya sits down. She opens a book on custody procedures in the state, and after 15 minutes, trying to understand the first page, she feels despair begin to tighten her throat. She can't do it. Not alone, not against a lawyer who probably charges more per hour than she earns in an entire week. If this part resonated with you, if you felt the frustration of a system that seems designed to keep ordinary people out, leave a like. Because that engagement tells me that it's worth continuing to tell these stories. That they matter. That to it matters. Maya is about to give up, about to close her book and admit defeat before even fighting, when she hears a voice behind her. First time dealing with family. Court, she turns around. A man in uniform. Tall, broad-shouldered, but with a posture that doesn't intimidate. He's leaning against the door, arms crossed, an expression that's part curiosity, part something softer. Concern, perhaps. Maya doesn't recognize it, should she? Yes, and probably last too, because I clearly don't have the capacity for it. Nobody has it. The system is designed to confuse. He enters the room. Sheriff Lucas Brennan. I saw you at the information desk. You seemed lost. Lost is a gentle understatement. Maya quickly wiped her eyes. She hadn't realized she was crying again. Sorry, I don't usually break down in public libraries. The court has that effect. Lucas pulls up a chair, not invading her space, but making his presence felt. Custody case. How do you know? I recognize the expression. I've seen it many times. He pauses. And I heard your name when I was in the hallway. Maya Torres versus Derek Torres. Custody, modification. Maya feels a heat of shame rising up her neck. So you know, that ex is trying to take my daughter away because he thinks I'm not good enough. I know there's a petition. I don't know the truth behind it. But seeing you here, alone, trying to understand an impossible system, he gestures toward books. I can make an educated guess about who really cares, and something about his tone, not pity, not judgment, just factual statement, makes Maya's chest tighten. Because no one else said that. No one validated her effort. Everyone just assumed that if Derek is fighting for custody, he must have a reason to. I care, she whispers. More than anything, Emma is everything. So you fight, and you learn what you need to learn to fight properly. I don't know where to begin. Lucas looks at the open book in front of her. He smiles slightly. That's not the way to go. These books are for lawyers. You need a practical guide. He stands up. Wait here. He leaves. He returns 5 minutes later with a thin folder. This is a guide that the court should provide, but doesn't. It explains the process in human language. Steps, deadlines, what the judge is looking for. Start here. Maya picks up the folder. She looks at Lucas. Why are you helping me? Because the system is already difficult enough. It doesn't need to be impossible. He hesitates, and because I've seen cases like this before. Good mothers losing children not because they failed, but because they didn't have the resources to fight. I don't want to see it again if I can prevent it. If you want to see more stories like this, stories about ordinary people facing impossible systems, about protection coming from unexpected places, about fighting for what's worth it, subscribe to the channel. Because what comes next will show you that sometimes all a broken person needs is someone who sees beyond what the system says. Maya takes the brochure home. She reads it cover to cover. And for the first time in days, she feels something beyond despair. Not hope, yet hope seems like a dangerous luxury, but a possibility. Small, fragile, but real. Maybe she can do it. Maybe with the right information, with adequate preparation, with the determination that only a mother fighting for her child has. Maybe she has a chance. But what Maya doesn't know, what she can't know, while sitting in the small kitchen making notes in a folder, the kind sheriff gave hers, that Derek is already 10 steps ahead. Because while she's learning the basics, he's hiring not just a lawyer, he's hiring a private investigator, an expert in psychological evaluation, a specialist in proving in court that single mothers are, by definition, inadequate. And the audience? It's coming faster than Maya imagines. The 10 days are running out, and the war for Emma's soul is about to begin. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because to understand what's at stake in this custody hearing, you need to understand who Maya really is. Not the version Derek's lawyer will paint: an unstable woman, an inadequate mother, someone who can't provide. But the truth, her journey, the scars she carries, and the strength she has built upon them. Maya Torres is 29 years old, but sometimes she feels like she's lived several lives. The girl she was at 23 when she met Derek, when she believed that being loved meant becoming less, seems like a character from another movie. Someone she barely recognizes now. She works 2 jobs, receptionist at the veterinary clinic from 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. It's a job she loves. Animals don't judge, don't lie, don't manipulate. Dogs that come in scared leave wagging their tails because Maya has a gentle manner, a calm voice that soothes even the most nervous. The veterinarian says Maya is better than any sedative. 3 nights a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, she puts on a different uniform and goes to a restaurant downtown. Waitress, a job that hurts her feet, leaves a greasy smell in her hair, pays with variable tips and forced smiles for customers who are sometimes rude. But it pays bills that her clinic salary alone doesn't cover. Because the alimony Derek is supposed to pay $400 a month, as stipulated by the judge, rarely arrives. He's late. He forgets. He sends half and promises the rest later. And Maya doesn't have the energy or money to keep suing for every late payment. So she works. It makes up for it. She ensures Emma has everything she needs. No luxuries. There's no money for that. But necessities. Food, clothes, the occasional toy that Maya buys at a thrift store and cleans until they look brand new. And love. Lots of love. The kind that can't be bought or quantified in a spreadsheet. Maya left Derek 2 years ago. Emma had just turned 1. And there was an incident. Something Maya never talks about. Not to her mother. Not to the few friends she has. Certainly not to Emma, who was too young to remember, but too old not to feel the tension of. Those last few months, there was no physical violence. Derek never hit, never pushed, but there was violence. The kind that doesn't leave visible marks. The kind that corrodes you from the inside until you no longer know where abuse ends and your own voice begins. Derek controlled everything. What Maya wore, that blouse, is too revealing. What will the neighbors think? What she ate, you gained weight after the pregnancy. Maybe you should skip dinner. Who she talked to, your friend, Sarah. It's a bad influence. It's best to stay away from her. And motherhood. God. The way he turned every decision she made about Emma into evidence of her inadequacy. The baby was crying. You don't know how to calm her down. Give her here. You're useless. Emma refused to eat. Obviously because you don't know how to cook properly. Children need routine, which you can't maintain. Was the diaper leaking? You can't even change a diaper properly. What kind of mother are you? Every little thing turned into a failure, into proof that Maya wasn't good enough. And slowly, so slowly she barely noticed, Maya began to believe it. He began to doubt every instinct. He began to hesitate before picking up Emma, thinking, am I holding it wrong? She began having panic attacks at night, thinking, what if he's right? What if I'm a terrible mother and I don't realize it? The incident happened one night in March. Emma had a fever. Nothing serious, teething, the pediatrician had said. But she was irritable, crying, refusing to sleep. And Maya was exhausted. She had stayed up 2 nights in a row. She was beyond tired. She was in that state where her body is kind of running on autopilot, but her mind is switched off. Derek arrived home from work. He heard crying. He entered the baby's room, where Maya was pacing back and forth. Emma in her arms, singing softly, trying to calm her down. You can't even do that right, he said. His voice was icy. Give me the child. She's fine. She just needs time. You're incompetent. You always have been. I don't know why I thought you could be a mother." He snatched Emma from her arms. And Emma, startled by the abruptness, by the loud voice, cried even harder. "See? Now you've made her worse." Derek looked at Maya with such pure disdain that physical contact would have hurt less. "You should leave. Emma would be better off without you. I would be better off without you. You add nothing but incompetence and drama." And Mayags, exhausted, broken, conditioned by months of constant gaslighting, believed it. For one horrible moment, she truly believed Emma would be better off without her. She left the room. She went to the bathroom. She sat on the cold floor, and she thought, what if he's right? What if I'm the problem? It was a neighbor who saved her. Mrs. Martha, a 70-year-old woman who lived next door, knocked on the door 20 minutes later. "Maya, I heard crying. Is everything all right?" Derek answered. Charming, reassuring. "Everything's fine. Just a teething baby. Maya is resting." But Donna, Martha, insisted on seeing Maya. And when she saw her sitting on the bathroom floor, eyes empty, completely disoriented, she recognized her because she had seen her before. In her own daughter, years ago. "Darling Donna," Martha said, kneeling with difficulty, "you need to leave. This isn't love. This never was love." And something in those words, external validation, a voice that wasn't Derek's saying that her perception mattered, broke the spell. Maya left that night. Small suitcase, Emma in her arms. Donna Martha offered her a sofa for weeks until Maya found an apartment, and Maya swore, never again. Never again would she let a man define her worth. Never again would she doubt her own ability to be a mother. In the 2 years since then, she has rebuilt, brick by brick. It wasn't easy. It never is. Therapy she could barely afford, but that saved her sanity. Support groups for survivors of emotional abuse. Nights, crying after Emma fell asleep, processing trauma, rebuilding self-confidence that had been systematically destroyed. But she did it. She built a life. Not a perfect one. Not Instagram-worthy, but real, honest, full of imperfect but genuine love. The apartment is small, 45 square meters. A living room that serves as both living and dining room. A kitchen that's more of a glorified closet. A bedroom that Maya divided with a curtain her side, Emma's side. A bathroom with a dripping faucet. And cracked tiles that the landlord has been promising to fix next month for 6 months. But the walls are covered in Emma's art. Disproportionate dinosaurs. Sons with smiling faces. Family, 2 stick figures. One large, one small, always holding hands. The refrigerator has magnets holding photos, shopping lists, reminders of doctor's appointments. The bookshelf is full of books. Maya reads to Emma every night. Same routine. Dinner, bath, pajamas, 3 stories, lullabies. Emma chooses the books. Sometimes it's even 3 times in a row. Maya doesn't mind, because routine provides security. And Emma deserves to feel secure. Maya isn't a perfect mother. She knows it. Sometimes she's too tired to play, and puts on cartoons on TV to have 15 minutes of peace. Sometimes she serves cereal for dinner because she worked a double shift and doesn't have the energy to cook. Sometimes she loses her temper and speaks louder than she should, and then feels guilty for hours. But she is present. Every day, every night, every fever, every nightmare, every joy, big or small. She is the first person Emma sees in the morning and the last at night. She is a voice that calms, hands that heal, a heart that loves unconditionally. And until now, until the white envelope appeared in the park, Maya thought that was enough. She thought love made up for a small apartment. That presence was worth more than a bank account. That being a devoted mother mattered more than having a big house. But the legal system doesn't measure love. It measures square meters, annual income, financial stability, and in that metric, Maya is losing before she even begins. Comment below. This makes sense to me. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because what makes this battle so devastatingly unequal isn't just a matter of money. Although money is a powerful weapon, It's the hidden truth that no one admits out loud. Derek doesn't want Emma. He never did. And that makes the whole situation even more cruel. In the 2 years since Maya left, Derek visited Emma exactly 11 times. Maya knows why she marked each one on a calendar, not out of bitterness, but because Emma always asked, "When is Daddy coming again?" And Maya needed an answer based on pattern, not hope. 11 visits. In 24 months. That's an average of 1 visit every 2 months. And of those 11, 3 were canceled at the last minute. Derek would always text, never call, because texting doesn't require hearing disappointment in a 3-year-old's voice saying that something came up at work or he's not feeling well. Birthdays. Emma had 2 since the separation. Derek didn't show up for either. He sent a gift clearly bought by an assistant to generic toys to professional wrapping. Emma opened it, smiling because she was 3 years old and any gift is magical at that age. But Maya saw it. She saw a lack of thought, a lack of connection, a lack of basic knowledge about her own daughter. Child support for $100 a month, stipulated by the judge, arrives when it arrives. Derek is 2 or 3 months late. Then he sends half with a message. Tight cash flow this month. I'll send the rest later. He never sends the rest. And Maya doesn't have the resources to keep processing every late payment. So she compensates. She works more. She cuts expenses. She makes sure Emma never misses anything. This is the Derek that Maya knows. An absent father. Financially negligent. Emotionally disconnected. But then, 3 months ago, something changed. Derek got engaged. Vanessa Chen, 32 years old, marketing manager at a technology company. Wealthy family, father owns a restaurant chain. Mother is an heiress to something or other. The kind of woman who posts photos of sunrise yoga and organic brunch and has an apartment where everything matches perfectly, as if a designer had lived there. Maya saw photos on social media that Derek hadn't bothered to block. He saw an engagement ring that probably cost more than Maya earns in a year. He saw comments from friends. Finally found someone worthy. As if Maya had been a mistake. Draft, inferior version. And then came the message. Vanessa and I are getting married in June. She wants to meet Emma. I think it's important for her to understand my whole life, including the responsibilities of being a father. Responsibilities. As if Emma were an item on a to-do list. Maya replied carefully, "Of course, we can arrange to meet in the park. A neutral environment is better for Emma." But Derek had other ideas. "We thought Emma could spend the weekend here." Vanessa prepared a room for her. It would be good to start establishing a more consistent visitation schedule. Weekend. With a man she'd visited 11 times in 2 years. With a fiancé Emma had never met. In a strange house. Maya said no, politely. "Derek, Emma barely knows you. A whole weekend is too much. Can we start with a few hours?" His response was cold. "I'm her father. I have rights. I don't need your permission to see my own daughter." And 2 weeks later, a bailiff showed up at the park. Because Derek doesn't want Emma out of sudden paternal love. Derek wants Emma because Vanessa wants a complete family for wedding aesthetics. For photos where he looks like a devoted father. For a narrative where he's a family man. Not a man who abandoned a baby for a single mother to deal with alone. And Vanessa Maya researched, because when you're fighting for a child, you learn everything you can about opposition comes from a traditional family. A family where marriage means children, where having a stepdaughter is a romantic accessory. Proof that Derek is capable of commitment, of fatherhood, of responsibility. So Derek hired Mitchell and Associates, a firm that doesn't lose. A lawyer named Gordon Mitchell himself, man who charges $700 an hour and is worth every penny because he knows exactly how to weaponize truth. The petition Maya received is a cruel work of art. Every word chosen is designed to hurt maximally. Mother works excessive shifts, leaving minor child in the care of others for extended periods. True, but it omits that Maya works because Derek doesn't consistently pay child support. That third parties refers to Donna Martha, the loving neighbor Emma calls grandma. That extended periods means 3 nights a week, 4 hours each. Current residence does not meet adequate standards of space and safety. Technical truth. The apartment is small, but it omits the fact that it's clean, safe, and full of love. That Emma has her own bed, toys, and space to be a child. That Maya pays her rent on time every month, even when it means eating instant noodles for a week. Mother has a documented history of emotional instability, including treatment for anxiety. A cruelly distorted truth. Maya is in therapy. She takes medication occasionally when her anxiety becomes uncontrollable. Legacy of years with Derek. But the lawyer transforms mental health treatment into evidence of inadequacy, as if seeking help were a weakness instead of a strength. The picture the lawyer paints: a negligent mother working excessively in bad jobs, living in an inadequate apartment, struggling with mental health issues, and unable to provide a stable environment. Versus Derek, 4-bedroom house in a nice neighborhood, fiance with a stable income willing to stay home, and focus on family, financial stability. No history of mental health problems because men like Derek don't believe in therapy. Maya's friends try to reassure her. No judge takes a child away from a loving mother. The system favors mothers. They don't understand the system, he said, favoring mothers 30 years ago, but now the system favors the best interests of the child, and best interests is defined by lawyers, by paid experts, by evaluations that cost thousands. Maya speaks with 3 family lawyers. They all say the same thing. This is a complicated case. Derek has resources. You'll need your own expert to counter the arguments. A child psychologist. Maybe a home appraiser. We're talking about $15,000 to $20,000 to put together an adequate defense. She has $1,200 in savings. What if I represent myself? The lawyers exchange glances. Ms. Torres, his lawyer is Gordon Mitchell. He's going to destroy you in court. With all due respect, you have no training. You don't know the rules of evidence. You don't know how to cross-examine witnesses. It's like going into a boxing match against a professional champion without ever having put on gloves. So, what do? Find money. Borrow from family. Campaign online. Do something. Because without adequate representation, your chances are they don't finish sentences. They don't need to. Maya tries. She calls her mother, who lives 3 states away. Mom, I need help. Derek is suing for custody. And Maya, I don't have money to lend. And honestly, maybe it would be good for Emma to spend time with her father too. You work a lot. Children need stability. Even her mother, even her own mother, assumes that because Derek has money, he must be a better option. Maya searches for pro bono custody defense. She finds 3 organizations. All have a 6-month waiting list. The hearing is in 10 days. She searches how to represent yourself in family court. She finds forums full of desperate mothers sharing horror stories. I lost custody because the judge thought my apartment was too small. My ex hired a psychologist who said I was a narcissist. He never evaluated me. He just read his case file and agreed. The system is broken. If you don't have money, you lose. And Maya understands. Finally, brutally understands. It doesn't matter that Derek abandoned Emma for 2 years. It doesn't matter that his alimony never arrives. It doesn't matter that Maya's love is obvious, documented, lived every day. It matters who has the best lawyer, who can afford experts, who can construct the most compelling narrative. And in this game, Maya has already lost before it even begins. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because there are specific moments when destinies change, when someone who could move on chooses to stop, chooses to see. And for Lucas Brennan, that moment happened 3 weeks before the bailiff showed up at the park when he saw Maya for the first time and recognized something most people would miss. Lucas is making his routine rounds on a Tuesday afternoon. The municipal park is a regular stop not because there's frequent crime, but because teenagers occasionally vandalize restrooms with graffiti. And the city complains if the police don't maintain a presence. So Lucas passes by, checks, waves to families, and continues on his way. That day, he parks his car in the shade. It's hot late spring, promising a brutal summer. The park is moderately crowded. Mothers with babies. Elderly people feeding ducks in the artificial lake. And in the playground area, a young woman pushing a small child on a swing. Lucas doesn't pay attention initially, just the scenery. Part of the landscape that he automatically takes in and then forgets about. But then something catches his eye. Not an obvious action. Not a suspicious situation. Just a pattern. Behavior that years in law enforcement have trained him to recognize. The woman, he doesn't know her name yet, only sees dark hair tied in a ponytail, worn jeans, a t-shirt that has seen better days, completely present with the child, pushing the swing, laughing when the child shouts louder, constantly talking. The kind of total attention Lucas rarely sees in parks where half the parents are glued to their phones. But there's more. Every 30 seconds, maybe 40, she looks around. Not obviously. No overt paranoia. Just a quick scan. Checking who's nearby. Checking exits. Assessing potential threats. Lucas is familiar with this behavior. He's seen it in veterans with PTSD. He's seen it in survivors of domestic violence. He's seen it in people who have lived with threats long enough for hypervigilance to become a reflex. He watches for another 5 minutes, and the pattern continues. The woman plays with her daughter, because it's clearly mother and daughter. The love in their interaction is obvious, but she never fully relaxes. He never allows her to lower her guard completely. Lucas makes a mental note. Not because there's a crime, but because he recognizes the mark of trauma. And in a small town like this, he prefers to be aware, in case he needs it later. He doesn't speak to her. He doesn't intervene. He just observes and continues on patrol. 3 weeks later, Lucas is in court. Not a custody case manslaughter. Drunk driver who killed a teenager in an accident. Lucas is a witness. He was the first to arrive at the scene. He hates courtroom days. He hates reliving tragedies. He hates the suit he has to wear. But it's part of the job. He arrives early. He sits in the hallway waiting to be called. And he sees her. Same woman from the park. But a different context transforms casual recognition into genuine concern. She's sitting alone on a bench across the aisle. Papers are scattered across her lap, clearly legal documents, because Lucas recognizes the format, font, and official spacing. She's reading intently, her lips moving slightly, her eyebrows furrowed in concentration or confusion. Probably both. Next to her, on the bench, a children's folder, the cheap kind you buy at dollar stores, covered in unicorn and rainbow stickers, and sticking out of it, Lucas sees corners of children's drawings, crayons, pure love in the form of children's art, and then Lucas looks to the other side of the hallway. Man, early 30s, expensive suit, not lawyer style, but businessman style, trying to look professional. Gel-haired, trimmed beard, posture of someone used to winning. And next to him, a real lawyer. Lucas recognizes Gordon Mitchell. Immediately, everyone in the department knows him. A lawyer who defends cops when they screw up. A lawyer who costs a fortune but never loses. And the way the man is looking at the woman across the hall. Lucas knows that expression. Disdain, superiority, the absolute confidence of someone who already knows the outcome before even starting. Lucas connects the dots quickly. Custody, obviously. Woman alone with documents she barely understands. Man with an expensive lawyer. Child's folder with drawings. Hypersurveillance that Lucas noticed in the park. The story unfolds. An abusive relationship, separation, and now, an unequal custody battle where one side has resources and the other has only love. Lucas should move on. It's not his case. It's not within his jurisdiction. Custody is civil, not criminal. He's here to testify about a traffic accident, not to get involved in domestic drama, but he keeps watching. And he sees a moment that solidifies his decision. A woman drops a piece of paper. She bends down to pick it up. And when she straightens up, there are tears in her eyes that she blinks furiously, trying to hide them. She doesn't want to cry here. She doesn't want to show weakness. But the pain is obvious. On the other side, a man watches and smiles. Small, satisfied. The smile of a predator who knows his prey is cornered. Lucas feels familiar anger. The kind that comes when he sees the system being manipulated. When he sees a good person being crushed by someone with resources. He doesn't intervene. Not yet. But he memorizes names. He hears when an officer calls the case. Torres versus Torres. Custody modification. Torres and Maya Torres. And the man must be Derek Torres. Lucas makes a mental note. After he testifies, after he leaves here, he's going to do research. Unofficial. Just information. Because he's seen this movie before. He already knows how it ends. And it usually doesn't end well for single mothers without resources. 2 hours later, testimony concluded. Lucas is in his car. He should be returning to the police station. But instead, he pulls out his phone. He calls a friend who works in social services. Sarah, it's Lucas. I need a favor. I've always wanted this. What do you need? Information regarding the custody case. Torres, Maya, and Derek. I just want to know. Context. Pause. Lucas, you know I can't discuss active cases. I'm not asking for confidential details. Just off the record. Is she in real danger? Long sigh. Off the record. Completely. She's screwed. Excuse my French. Ex-hired Mitchell. She doesn't have a lawyer. Tried every pro bono resource and possible waiting list. And Lucas, I saw the files. He doesn't want a child. He wants control. But he has the money to build a compelling case. And her love doesn't pay lawyers. The system breaks down like that. Sarah hesitates. Why the interest? I saw her in court. I recognized the pattern. Of what? From someone who survived hell and is now being punished for it. Lucas hangs up. He sits in the courthouse parking lot for 10 minutes, processing, deciding. Technically, it's not his problem. He doesn't know this woman. He owes her nothing. He has his own work, his own cases, his own responsibilities that don't include saving single mothers from an unjust system. But Lucas has a sister, a younger sister, who went through a brutal divorce 5 years ago, who fought for custody and almost lost because her ex had money and she didn't. Lucas couldn't help, then he didn't know how. He didn't understand the system, he didn't have the resources, but she knows now. She learned, she studied, because she never wanted to feel so powerless again. And Maya Torres, she's about to face exactly what Lucas's sister faced, only worse. Because at least his sister managed to get a mediocre lawyer. Maya doesn't even have that. Lucas makes a decision, probably crossing a line, probably inappropriate, but necessary. He will help, not officially, not as sheriff, but as a human who knows that sometimes the system needs a push, that justice doesn't happen automatically, that good people need allies. He just needs to figure out how to approach them without seeming weird, without scaring them, without making things worse. Comment below. This makes sense to me. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because what happens in the minutes following Lucas's first testimony, when he should have been returning to the police station, but instead lingered around the courthouse, as if his conscience wouldn't let him leave, is a moment of decision. A moment where a passive witness becomes an active participant, where observation turns into intervention. Lucas ends his call with Sarah. He puts his phone away. He's about to start the car when he realizes he can't just leave. He can't let Maya Torres face this alone. Knowing what she knows now, knowing that the system will chew her up and spit her out, knowing that Derek has an arsenal and she only has love. Then he turns off the engine. He leaves. He goes back to court. The hallway is emptier now. Mid-afternoon, between sessions, a few lawyers chatting in corners, an officer organizing papers, and there, still on the same bench, Maya, alone, papers still scattered, but now she's not reading, just holding a child's folder, staring into nothing. Lucas is considering his approach, how to speak without seeming intrusive, without scaring her, when she abruptly stands up. She gathers papers haphazardly, some fall. She picks them up with visibly trembling hands, and then she walks quickly toward the restrooms at the end of the hall. Lucas waits, because maybe she just needs to use the bathroom. Maybe he's exaggerating. But something in her body language, shoulders hunched, hurried but unsteady step says, it's not just a physiological need. 5 minutes. Past 10. Lucas checks his watch. He really should go. He has reports to write, patrols to continue, real work, instead of standing in a courthouse hallway for a woman he doesn't know. But then he hears it, a faint sound, almost imperceptibly crying. Not dramatic soap opera crying, the muffled crying of someone desperately trying not to make a sound. The crying of someone who is breaking down but doesn't want anyone to see. Lucas follows the sound. Women's restroom. The door is ajar, not locked, not fully closed, and through the opening, he sees Maya sat on the cold tile floor, her back against the stained wall, knees bent, arms wrapped around them, head bowed. And around her, scattered on the floor like fallen flower petals, a child's drawings, dinosaurs in green crayon, a house with an oversized yellow sun, and in the center of one, written in uneven letters by a small hand, helped by an adult, with love for Mom. She's holding one of the drawings, trembling, sobbing silently, her hand pressed against her mouth, as if she could swallow the pain and make it disappear. Lucas should leave. Let her have some private time. It's not his problem. It's not his responsibility. He has 1,000 reasons to move on, but he can't. He knocks lightly on the door. A gentle sound, announcing his presence without completely intruding. Ma'am, are you all right? Stupid question. Obviously, he's not okay. Nobody cries on the floor of a public restroom because he's okay. Maya looks up. Red face, swollen eyes, and when she sees the uniform, panic flashes across her face like lightning. I didn't do anything wrong, she says quickly, wiping her face with the back of her hand. I just needed a moment. I'm going out. Sorry, you don't need to apologize. And there's nothing wrong with you. Lucas keeps a respectful distance. He doesn't go into the bathroom. He stays by the door. Court is difficult. Do you have anyone here with you? Family, a lawyer. Maya laughs. Bitter sound. I can't afford a lawyer. Bree told me they need $15,000 up front. And family. She shakes her head. I don't have any. Not really. The case? Lucas asks, even though he already knows. He wants to hear it from her. He wants her to say it out loud. Custody. Her voice breaks at the word. X wants to take my daughter away. Says I'm unstable. That I can't provide a suitable environment. That she'd be better off with him and the perfect fiancé in the perfect home. Tears stream down her face again. And maybe he's right. Because I'm on the bathroom floor of the courthouse, crying instead of fighting. Maybe it isn't stable. Or, Lucas says softly, you're down because the system is brutal, and you're facing something alone that no one should have to face alone. And breaking under impossible pressure doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Maya looks at him, really looks, as if trying to decide if she can trust him. If those words are genuine or just platitudes from a well-meaning stranger. I saw you in the hallway, Lucas continues. I saw papers you're trying to understand. I saw an expensive lawyer on the other side, and I saw, he gestures to drawings on the floor, evidence of love that the court will ignore because it doesn't fit on a legal form. Are you a lawyer, Sheriff Lucas Brennan? He doesn't extend his hand. Distance is still important, letting her control the space. And no, I can't represent you, but I can help in other ways. If you want. Why? Suspicion in her voice. reasonable. The world taught Maya to question kindness. You don't even know me. No, but I recognize injustice when I see it. And this, he gestures vaguely toward the whole situation, is injustice. The system being manipulated by those with money against those who only have the truth. Maya remains quiet for a long moment, processing, evaluating. And then, slowly, she begins to gather the drawings from the floor. Lucas crouches down, as well keeping his distance, but helping. They work in silence for a moment. He doesn't want her, Maya finally says, her voice low. Derek. He doesn't want Emma. He's visited maybe 10 times in 2 years. He forgets birthdays. He's late with child support, but his fiancée wants a complete family for the wedding. So now, suddenly, he's a devoted father. Bitterness drips from every word. And the court will believe him, because he has a big house, money, an expensive lawyer, and I have, what? A two-room apartment, to poorly paying jobs, and love. Lots of love. But love doesn't pay lawyers. Lucas gathers his last drawing. He hands it to her. Love doesn't appear on legal forms either, but it matters. And there are ways to make the court see that. How? Without a lawyer, without money, with information, with preparation, with someone who knows the system, teaching you how to navigate it. Lucas finally extends his hand, not to shake it, to help her up. Get up, I'll help you. Maya looks at the outstretched hand. She hesitates. Why would you do that? Really? Not the noble answer. The real reason. Lucas considers lying, giving the easy answer, but she deserves honesty. Because I have a sister who went through this. A brutal custody battle. She almost lost her children because her ex had money. And I couldn't help. I didn't know how. But I've learned since then. And I don't want to watch another good mother be destroyed by a broken system if I can do something. Your sister. Did she win? Eventually? But it took years. Trauma, debt, and only because he finally found a lawyer willing to work pro bono. Lucas keeps his hand outstretched. You don't have years, you have days. So you need a shortcut. You need someone who knows the system, and I do. Maya looks at him for another moment. And then, slowly, she places her hand in his. He pulls her up. She stumbles slightly, her legs numb from being on the ground for too long. Lucas steadies her without intruding. And when she's standing, when her eyes meet his, there's gratitude. But also fear. Fear of hope. Because hope hurts when it's crushed. I can't afford it, she begins. I'm not charging. It's not official work. I'm not a lawyer. But I can teach you what a judge looks for. How to organize evidence. How to present a case. How not to look. He searches for the right word. How not to look broken even when you are. But I'm broke. Now that's more like it. In court, you're going to be a warrior. Lucas picks up a child's folder from the floor and hands it to her. These drawings, they're evidence of love, of connection, of a happy child. You're going to bring them. You're going to show them to the judge. You're going to make visible what his lawyer wants to keep invisible. Maya holds the briefcase as if it were a treasure. The hearing is in 9 days. So we have 9 days to build a case that a $15,000 lawyer could build. Lucas checks his watch, but not here. Not on the bathroom floor. Do you have somewhere we can talk? Coffee? Library? I need to pick up my daughter. The nanny needs to go to her work. Then I'll take you. We'll talk on the way. Lucas sees hesitation. Look, I understand if you don't trust me. You don't know me. But Maya, you're alone against the machine. And the machine has no mercy. You need an ally. I'm offering to be that ally. The choice is yours. And Maya, exhausted, scared, desperate, makes a decision. Perhaps a wrong one. Perhaps a risky one. But the only option she has. Okay, she whispers. Help me. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because the 9 days Lucas promised to help weren't enough. They weren't even close. Because while he and Maya worked night after night preparing the case, organizing documentation, rehearsing the presentation, Derek and Gordon Mitchell were 10 steps ahead with resources Maya could never match. The preliminary hearing takes place on a Monday morning. Family court, a smaller room than criminal courts, but somehow more intimidating. Beige walls, fluorescent light, uncomfortable, creaky chairs. And in the front, towering, Judge Martha Hendricks, 63 years old, 35 years of experience. An expression that has witnessed 1,000 family tragedies and developed armor against them. Maya enters with Lucas. He can't sit with her at the table, he's not her lawyer, he has no legal right to be there, but he sits in the first row behind. A silent presence, an anchor. On the other side, Derek in a new suit, Vanessa beside him, conservative dress, perfect makeup, playing the role of a devoted stepmother, and Gordon Mitchell, man in his 50s, gray hair, expensive glasses, a leather briefcase that probably costs more than Maya's monthly rent. Case number 2024, Ifi Seyun, 847. The official announces. Torres versus Torres. Custody modification. Judge Hendricks looks at the papers, then at the room. Ms. Torres, I see you don't have legal representation. Maya stands up. Her voice trembles slightly. No, Your Excellency. I am representing myself. I understand, Tom, not judging, but clearly disapproving. Mr. Mitchell, your client is adequately represented. I see. Yes, Your Excellency. Mitchell rises with the ease of someone who does this every day. Gordon Mitchell representing the petitioner, Derek Torres, and it begins. Mitchell is a machine, efficient, relentless. He presents a meticulous case. Your Excellency, my client seeks primary custody of his minor daughter, Emma Torres, aged 3. Due to legitimate concerns about the current environment and the mother's ability to provide stable care, he puts the first piece of evidence on the table. School report showing that the minor arrived late to daycare 3 times in the last month. Consistent lateness indicates a lack of structured routine. Maya wants to scream. 3 times because traffic was impossible, because an accident blocked the road, because life happens, but you can't interrupt. Lucas taught her, wait your turn. Photographs of the current residence. Mitchell hands out photos. Maya recognizes her apartment. But photos are cruel angles that make small spaces seem claustrophobic. Focus on a crack in the wall, a dripping faucet, a pile of clothes in the corner that Maya didn't have time to fold that morning. As the court can see, the space is inadequate. The minor shares a room with the mother. There is no separate area for studying or appropriate play. But there is love, Maya pensa. There is laughter. There are bedtime stories. There is safety. But how do you photograph that? Mitchell continues. Statement from Jennifer Ramos, former nanny. He reads, I frequently left the girl alone for extended periods while Ms. Torres was at work. On one particular occasion, the girl did not have a proper dinner-only cereal. Ms. Torres demonstrated a pattern of neglect due to excessive work commitments. That's a lie. Jennifer was fired for stealing $50 from Maya's wallet. But Mitchell doesn't mention that. And Maya has no proof it was word against word. And Maya didn't sue because she couldn't afford a lawyer. And then, the crux of the matter, independent psychological evaluation conducted by Dr. Robert Chen, licensed clinical psychologist. Mitchell hands over a thick document. Dr. Chen evaluated Ms. Torres and concluded that she presents symptoms consistent with generalized anxiety disorder and possible depression. Full report attached, but I quote, patient demonstrates signs of emotional instability that may impact ability to provide a consistent and calm environment for child development. Maya feels blood draining from her face. She has never been examined by Dr. Chen. She has never met him. How could he? So you understand, the evaluation was based on medical records that Derek somehow obtained. A prescription for an anti-anxiety medication that a doctor gave after the separation. Therapy sessions that Maya attended to process trauma, all transformed into evidence of inadequacy. Judge Hendricks reads the report. Neutral expression but slightly furrowed brows. Mitchell concludes, "Meanwhile, my client offers a stable home, a 4-bedroom house in a safe neighborhood, a fiancé who is prepared to assume the role of primary caregiver, allowing the minor to have a maternal figure present full-time, stable income, no history of mental health problems." He sits down. Job done. Case filed. Maya destroyed in 15 minutes. The judge turns to Maya. "Ms. Torres, your answer?" Maya stands up, hands trembling. She rehearsed this. Lucas helped her prepare. But in front of the judge, with Derek looking on with satisfaction, with evidence of an imperfect life spread out as an accusation, words evaporate. Your Excellency, I love my daughter. I work hard to provide Mrs. Torres. Love is not the issue. No one doubts that you love your daughter. The question is whether you can provide a stable environment. The apartment may be small, but it's clean, safe. Emma has everything she needs. School reports suggests otherwise. Consistent delays, 3 times a month, due to traffic, not due to negligence. And the nanny mentions food neglect. She lied. She was fired for stealing. She has a motive for. Do you have proof of this accusation? Silence. Maya doesn't have it. She didn't file a lawsuit. She didn't document anything. She just fired him and moved on. Mrs. Torres, the judge continued, her voice not unkind but firm. I understand that the situation is difficult. I understand that you work very hard. But a 3-year-old child needs stability, routine, an environment that doesn't require the mother to work double shifts, frequently leaving the child with others. But Derek hardly ever visits. In 2 years, he's visited maybe 10 times. How can he be a primary father if he wasn't a present father? Mitchell stands up. Your Honor, my client acknowledges that visitation has been limited due to geographical distance and conflict with Ms. Torres. But he is now committed to providing a stable home. He doesn't want her. Maya can't hold back. He wants control. He wants to punish me for leaving. A bride wants the perfect Instagram family. This isn't about Emma, Ms. Torres. The judge tapped her gavel lightly. Emotional accusations are not evidence. I need facts. And Maya realizes she doesn't have concrete facts. She has love. She has dedication. She has 2 years of constant presence, but not in a way that a court can recognize. The judge reviews the papers for a long moment. The room is silent except for the sound of pages turning. Maya barely breathes. Finally, given the complexity of the case and the concerns raised about the current environment, I am ordering temporary custody to be granted to the father while we conduct a full assessment of the situation. Words hit like a physical punch. Temporary custody. For the father, temporary, the judge emphasizes, while an independent evaluator examines both homes and parenting abilities. The process will take approximately 2 weeks. During this period, the minor will reside with the father. The mother will have supervised visitation twice a week, 2 hours each time. 2 hours per week. Maya sees Emma for only 4 hours a week, instead of every day, every night, every moment. Your Excellency, please. Maya feels tears burning, but fights back. Emma doesn't know him. She'll be scared. She sleeps with me every night. She has a routine. She can't just Ms. Torres. I understand your concern, but the decision has been made. The transition will take place at the end of this week. Friday, at 5 in the afternoon, the child will be transferred to the father's custody. Next hearing in 2 weeks to review the evaluator's findings. The gavel falls, final, irreversible. Maya stands still. She can't process it. Friday, 4 days before. Emma was taken. Lucas is right beside her, hand on her shoulder, a silent anchor. But not even he can fix this. Derek walks past them as they leave. He doesn't look at Maya, but she sees a smile at the corner of his mouth. Satisfaction, victory. Maya leaves the courtroom on autopilot. She doesn't cry. She doesn't react. Her body in shock protects her mind from a truth too brutal to fully process. Lucas takes her to his car. She sits down. She looks out the window. She sees the world going on. People walking, laughing, living as if her universe hadn't just imploded. Maya, Lucas finally says, his voice soft. Breathe. She tries. She can't. Her breathing comes short, rapid, on the verge of a panic attack. Look at me. Lucas gently turns her body around. Maya, for days, it's not over. We're going to appeal. We're going to find evidence that the court can't ignore. We're going to, what? First word she speaks. Horse. Broken. You heard. I have 4 days. And then Emma will live. With a man she barely knows. In a strange house. With a strange woman. And I'll see her for hours a week, as if I were a visitor instead of her mother. Temporary. The judge said temporary. Temporary. But it could become permanent if the evaluator decides that Derek has a better home. And they will decide. Because it's his home, and higher, his income, and more stable. And I only have love. And love doesn't count. Lucas has no answer. Because she's right. The system favors appearances. And in appearances, Derek wins. They drive in silence to Dona Martha's house, where Emma is. And when Maya enters, when Emma runs to her shouting, "Mommy!" with pure laughter, Maya finally breaks down. She picks up Emma, hugs her too tightly, and cries. Sobs she held back the entire courtroom now escape. Emma is confused, small hands wiping tears from her mother. "Mommy, why are you crying?" "Because I love you so much, baby. So much. I love you too." Emma kisses her mother's cheek. A simple gesture, pure love. And Maya holds her daughter and thinks, how do I explain it? How do I tell you that in 4 days you'll be leaving? That I'm going to lose you, not because I did anything wrong, but because the system decided I'm not enough. Because Maya finally understands, this is not a threat, it's reality. And she's losing. Comment below, this makes sense to me. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because what Lucas faces in the days following that devastating hearing is not just professional conflict. It's an internal war between the man he is and the position he holds. Between the law he swore to uphold and the justice he knows is being denied. And the distance between those two things has never seemed so insurmountable. Lucas returns to the police station after dropping Maya off at home. He should be writing reports. He should be focusing on real cases, the robbery that happened last week, vandalism in the park, a domestic call that needs investigation. Real work, real jurisdiction. But she can't. She can't stop seeing the expression on Maya's face when the judge said temporary custody to the father. She can't stop hearing Emma's little voice asking, "Mommy, why are you crying?" He knows things the court doesn't know, things that could change everything. Derek Torres isn't the devoted father that lawyers portray. Lucas has a history. 203 cases of drunk driving in the last 5 years, all resolved before reaching court. Because Derek's father, also a lawyer, knows the right people, makes the right connections, and cases disappear. Lucas was involved in 2 of those incidents. He was the one who pulled Derek over the second time his blood alcohol level was 0.15, almost double the legal limit. Derek was belligerent, aggressive. He threatened Lucas. "Do you know who I am? My father will destroy you." Lucas arrested him anyway. He filled out a meticulous report, and 2 weeks later, the case was dismissed. Insufficient evidence. A lie. The evidence was solid, but someone in the chain of command decided it wasn't worth prosecuting the son of an influential lawyer. In the third case, Lucas wasn't even present, but he saw the report. Derek crashed into a lamppost at 3 in the morning. Alcohol level not tested somehow, a breathalyzer test wasn't available, and Derek was sent home with a citation that never amounted to anything. This is the man who now has custody of a 3-year-old child. A man with a pattern of dangerous irresponsibility. But the court doesn't know, because the records were buried. Lucas could dig it up. He could testify. He could provide context that Mitchell conveniently omitted. But there's a problem. Lucas is in the office when the captain enters. Thomas Wheeler, 58 years old. 25 years in the department. A good cop. A good boss. But also pragmatic. Political when he needs to be. Brennan. Word. Lucas heads to his private office. Wheeler closes the door. He sits down. He gestures for Lucas to sit down as well. I heard you were in court today. Torres case. Lucas isn't surprised. Small town gossip travels fast. I was in the hallway. I witnessed a different case. And coincidentally, it came up in a civil custody case that has nothing to do with you. I witnessed it at Kimball. A traffic accident. Remember? I remember. I also remember that you gave Maya Torres a ride. That you were seen talking to her extensively. And that, according to Gordon Mitchell, who called me an hour ago, you are interfering in a civil case. Lucas feels his anger growing. Mitchell called you. He has influence. And he's worried that a law enforcement official is taking sides in a domestic dispute. It's not a domestic dispute. It's an absent father trying to take his daughter away from a devoted mother because he has the money to hire an expensive lawyer. That's not our problem. It's not a police matter. So what is our jurisdiction? Only crimes. Involving weapons. Only physical violence. Lucas leans forward. Captain, I saw that woman. I saw her dedication. And I saw Derica. Man, we stopped 3 times for drunk driving. All magically resolved. This is the man who now has custody of a young child. Wheeler sighs. Lucas, I understand the impulse. I really do. But you can't get involved. Not officially. Not as sheriff. So I don't get involved as sheriff. I get involved as a citizen. You and sheriff. 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. There's no separation. Everything you do reflects on the department. And if Mitchell decides we're taking sides, he could cause real problems. Budgetary problems. Political problems. The kind of problems that affect all of us. So we ignore injustice because it's politically inconvenient. We ignore civil conflicts that are not our responsibility. There is a system for that. Courts, lawyers. We are not part of that system. Lucas is quiet for a moment, processing. Then, what if I testify about Derek's history, officially, with a badge? Try. Then it would be seen as the department taking sides, and Mitchell would go to the mayor, to the council. He would allege abuse of power, a personal vendetta. And honestly, Lucas, he would have a case. Because you, this personally involved. Because I saw injustice. Because he developed a connection with one of the parties, which, however well-intentioned, compromises objectivity. Wheeler leans back. Lucas, I'm giving you a direct order. Don't get involved in this case any further. Don't testify. Don't provide information. Don't use departmental resources. Stay away. What if I can't do it? So do it like a private citizen. Off duty. No uniform. No sheriff's ID. And accept that if things go wrong, there's no protection from the department. Wheeler looks at him seriously. I'm saying, is it worth risking your career for this? Lucas doesn't answer immediately, because it's a legitimate question. He worked 10 years to become sheriff. He built a reputation, trust, to risk it all for a woman he's known for weeks. But then she remembers Emma, 3 years old, big, trusting eyes, asking why mommy is crying. Yes, he finally says, okay. Wheeler shakes his head. So, you're a fool, but an honest fool, and I respect that. He stands up. Off the record, I hope it helps that woman. But on the record, I know nothing. Understood. Understood. Lucas leaves the office with a newfound clarity. He can't act like a sheriff, but he can act like a man. And sometimes, that's more important. He goes to the files, unofficially, during lunch, and makes copies. Not of confidential documents, just reports that are technically public, but never requested because nobody knows they exist. Derek's incident reports, dates, circumstances, alcohol level, all documented before disappearing into the legal maze. He puts copies in an envelope, and after his shift, out of uniform, he drives to Maya's apartment. She answers after the third knock. Red eyes, exhausted. Lucas. What? May I come in? She steps back. The apartment is silent. Emma is asleep. Finally, it took 2 hours. She senses something is wrong. Children always sense things. Lucas places the envelope on the table. This might help. Derek's history incidents his lawyer didn't mention. Maya opens the envelope. She reads, her eyes widen. He drove drunk, multiple times. 3 that I know of. Probably more. Why doesn't the court know about this? Because they were buried, filed away, resolved before they became a problem. But you're sheriff. Is that official? No. Officially, I'm not involved. That conversation never happened. But as a private citizen, I can share public information. He looks at her. Maya, use this. At the next hearing, show it to the evaluator. Demonstrate that the man in custody has a history of dangerous irresponsibility. Mitchell will say it was years ago. That Derek has changed. Then you counter-argue. You ask, is a man who hides a history of drunk driving, who uses his influence to avoid consequences, the kind of example a child needs? Maya holds on to roles as if they were salvation. Perhaps they are. Why are you doing this? Really, you're risking your career. Because it's right. And because. Lucas hesitates, then decides, complete honesty. Because I can't watch a child being taken from a good mother, just because the mother doesn't have enough money to buy justice. Tears streamed down Maya's face. If this goes wrong, if Mitchell finds out you supplied, he won't go. These are public documents. Any citizen can request them. You just knew where to look. Thank you. Her voice breaks. Thank you for believing in me when no one else did. And Lucas realizes, this is no longer just about doing the right thing. It's personal. He cares. About Maya, about Emma, about the outcome of this case in ways that go beyond civic duty. Dangerous. Complicated, but real. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because what happens in the 4 days between Emma's hearing and transfer isn't just legal preparation. It's something deeper, more personal. It's 2 broken people finding strength in each other. It's connection growing in the soil of despair. It's transformation happening when everything else is crumbling. Lucas shows up at Maya's apartment the following night. No uniform. Jeans and a t-shirt. Bag in hand. She answers. The door surprised. Emma already asleep in the next room. Lucas, it's almost 9, I know. Sorry for the late hour, but I brought something. He holds up the bag. Dinner. I thought maybe you hadn't eaten. Maya blinks. Did you bring dinner? Thai food? I didn't know your preferences, so I got a variety. And there are vegetarian options if you're interested. I'm not a vegetarian. But Lucas, you don't have to. I know I don't need to. I want to. He hesitates at the door. May I come in? Or is it too late? Maya steps back, letting him pass. The apartment is messier than usual. Toys scattered, clothes piled high, waiting to be washed, case papers covering the table. Evidence of life being lived in crisis mode. Sorry for the mess. I didn't have time. Maya, don't apologize. You're dealing with everything. A mess is expected. Lucas places the bag on the small kitchen table. When was the last time you ate a proper meal? She thinks. Breakfast. Toast with Emma. It's 8 p.m. Haven't you eaten in 12 hours? I lost my appetite. And when Emma woke up from her nap, she was confused, asking when she's going to see Daddy. I don't know how to explain that she'll be with him on Friday. How do I explain that to a 3-year-old? Lucas starts taking out containers of food. First, you eat. Then we'll talk about how to prepare Emma. And there's something about his gentle firmness, not authoritarian, but caring, that makes Maya's resistance crumble. She sits down, eats, and realizes she was hungry. They eat in silence for a moment. Then Lucas says, I brought more information. about the evaluation process, what the evaluator will look for when visiting your home, how to present it better. He pulls a folder from his bag. This is a checklist. Not official, but based on standards that evaluators use. Cleanliness doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be safe. Food in the refrigerator, clean clothes, evidence of routine. Maya looks at the list. My house is already like this. I mean, not perfect, but functional. I know, but the evaluator doesn't know you. They'll see snapshots, so you ensure that the snapshot shows the best version, not a fake one, just well organized. In the following days, Lucas becomes a constant presence, not intrusive, but available. He stops by after his shift. He brings dinner because Maya keeps forgetting to eat. He helps organize documentation into clear folders. He teaches her how to answer evaluator questions without seeming defensive. And in the process, they talk about everything, about nothing. One night, Emma, still awake and playing on the floor while the adults worked on paperwork, asked, "Is Lucas your boyfriend, Mommy?" Maya almost choked on her water. "No, dear, he's a friend. He's helping Mommy." Emma accepts this with the simple logic of a 3-year-old. "Okay, I like him. He's nice." After Emma falls asleep, Maya says, "Sorry about that. The question, no need to apologize, kids, are straightforward. It's refreshing." Lucas closes the folder he was reviewing. "Maya, can I ask you something? Personally? Of course, you said Derek never hit you. But there was abuse. When did you know you needed to leave?" Maya is quiet for a long moment. Then, there was a specific moment. Emma was 1 year old. She was crying teething, and I was exhausted. 2 sleepless nights, trying to calm her down. And Derek came in. He said I was incompetent, that Emma would be better off without me. And for a moment, just a horrible moment, I believed him. Tears began to flow. I thought, maybe he's right. Maybe I can't do this. And then the neighbor appeared, Mrs. Martha. She saw the state I was in, and she said something that changed everything. "This isn't love. It never was." And something clicked. I realized I was in an abusive relationship. That gaslighting isn't just a term, it's a real weapon used to destroy perception of reality. How did it turn out? That night, picked up Emma, small suitcase. I left. Mrs. Martha let me stay on her couch for weeks until I found this apartment. Maya wipes her eyes, and since then, I've built a life. Not perfect, but my own. Honest. Without anyone telling me I'm not enough. "You are more than enough," Lucas says with conviction. "Maya, I saw you with Emma. I saw patience, creativity, pure love. You are exactly the kind of mother a child needs. So why doesn't the court see this?" Because the court sees numbers. Square meters. Annual income. It doesn't see you waking up at 3 in the morning when Emma has a nightmare. It doesn't see you reading the same story 10 times because it's her favorite. It doesn't see the daily sacrifice you make for her. How do you make that clear? Show me. Journal, photos, witnesses who can speak about daily dedication. Lucas leans forward. And Maya, about abuse, do you have documentation? Therapy records? Anything to prove a pattern? I have therapy records, but doesn't showing that make me seem unstable, as Mitchell argued? Not presenting yourself correctly. Therapy isn't evidence of instability. It's evidence of strength, of recognizing the problem and seeking help. It shows you're a person who confronts trauma instead of ignoring it. He pauses. And if the therapist is willing to testify about the nature of the abuse you suffered, can she do that? With your permission, yes. Can you explain the coercive control pattern? Validate experience? Without violating confidentiality regarding specific details, Maya is processing this. You know a lot about this, about abuse, about how the courts work. I learned the hard way. Lucas hesitates, then decides. Vulnerability for vulnerability. My younger sister went through a brutal divorce 5 years ago. Her ex was controlling, emotionally abusive, And when she finally left, he used the system against her. He claimed she was unstable, inadequate. He almost got full custody of their 2 children. Almost. She found a lawyer willing to work pro bono. And she meticulously built a case showing his pattern of abuse. It took 2 years. It almost broke her financially and emotionally. But eventually, she won. Where were you? Watching. Powerless. I didn't know how to help. I didn't have the knowledge I have now. Lucas looks directly at her. That's why I'm here. Because I don't want to watch another good woman be destroyed when I can make a difference. And something in his raw honesty admission of past failure, desire to make amends stitches Maya deeply. Thank you for caring, for not judging me. I never judged you. From the first moment I saw you in court, I saw a warrior, exhausted, scared, but fighting anyway. That's strength. Silence hangs between them, heavy, meaningful. Maya breaks down first. Lucas, can you do something for me? If I lose custody, if Emma goes to Derek permanently, it's not going to happen. But if it happens, promise you'll check. That you'll make sure she's safe. That Derek is truly being a father, not just playing the part, I promise. But it won't come to that. How do you know? Because I saw you fight. And female warriors don't lose when they have reason on their side. Maya wants to believe. Desperately. But the fear is too great. Thursday night, the last night before Emma is transferred, Lucas shows up again. This time without a briefcase. Without papers. Just his presence. How is she? He asks, confused. Excited because Daddy said there's a princess room waiting for her. She doesn't understand it's permanent. She thinks it's a visit. Did you explain? I tried. How do you explain temporary custody for a 3-year-old? Maya's voice breaks. I said she'll stay with Daddy for a few days, that Mommy will visit. But Lucas, seeing her excitedly packing a pink backpack with a unicorn on it, without understanding that she won't be back tomorrow. It doesn't end, it falls apart. And Lucas does. Something he didn't plan. Something that crosses the line from professional to personal. He hugs her. Simple, gentle, letting her cry on his shoulder. You're a good mother, he murmurs. Emma knows. She'll always know. And we'll bring her back. Maya allows herself to believe. For a moment, in that embrace. In that promise. Because sometimes, all a broken person needs is someone who believes in them when they can't. Comment below. This makes sense to me. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because Friday arrives. Inevitable, cruel, and Maya needs to hand Emma over, knowing it might not be temporary, as the judge said. That Derek has the resources to fight indefinitely. That the system favors those with money to appeal, contest, prolong, until the victim gives up from exhaustion. The transfer is scheduled for 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Neutral location, the police station parking lot. Lucas arranged at his territory, where he can ensure the transition is documented, witnessed, without any opportunity for Derek to create drama or false accusations. Maya spends the whole day with Emma. Park in the morning, ice cream for lunch, drawing in the afternoon, trying to create enough memories to last through weeks of separation, trying to memorize every detail, the way Emma laughs when tickled, the way she wrinkles her nose when concentrating, the slight warmth of her body during hugs. At 4:30, Maya packs Emma's bag, clothes for 2 weeks, her favorite stuffed rabbit, books, and a framed photo of the two of them, Maya holding baby Emma, both smiling. This goes with you, Maya says, placing the photo in her backpack. So you remember that Mommy loves you. Always. I know you love me, Mom. Why are you sad? Because I'll miss you while you're with Dad. But you visit, right? Yes. Twice a week. Tuesday and Thursday. Emma accepts this with the ease of a child who doesn't understand permanence. Okay, I'll draw pictures for you. And Maya's heart breaks because Emma doesn't know. She doesn't understand that Derek's house could become her permanent home. that visits from mom could turn into just 2 hours a week instead of a lifetime together. Lucas shows up at 4:40. No uniform, he doesn't want to intimidate Emma. Just jeans and a blue shirt that makes his eyes look lighter. Ready? He asks softly. I'll never be ready for that, I know. But the more it's delayed, the harder it gets. They drive in silence. Emma sings. In the back seat, oblivious to the tension, Maya holds Lucas's hand without realizing it's searching for an anchor, something solid when everything is falling apart. Parking lot of the police station. Derek is already there. Vanessa is beside him, a practiced smile, her hand on Derek's shoulder in a possessive gesture, and Mitchell, because of course he's there, making sure the transfer is proper. Maya gets out of the car. She picks up Emma, and for a moment, just a moment, she considers running. Away. Driving. Disappearing. Going where Derek can't find her. Lucas sees hesitation. Don't do it, he murmurs. It will only make things worse. It'll give him reason to claim you're a flight risk. He's right, Maya knows. Then she walks over to Derek on legs that barely support her. Emma, she says, kneeling, is going to stay with Daddy for a while, remember? Yes, he said he has a princess room. That's wonderful, darling. And Mommy will visit you, Tuesday and Thursday. I promise. Okay. Emma kisses Maya's cheek. Then she runs to Derek. Daddy, I brought my bunny. Derek takes Emma, and for a second, just a second, Maya sees triumph in his eyes. Not paternal love, victory. He won. He took what was most important to her. Vanessa kneels down too, just like Emma. Hi Emma, I'm Vanessa. I prepared a beautiful room for you. Do you want to see it? Emma waves excitedly, and Maya watches her daughter being taken away. Driven away. Placed in an expensive SUV that smells new and of empty promises. Derek glances at Maya before entering. 2 weeks. Then the evaluator decides. And Maya, get ready, because I'm going to prove that Emma deserves more than a tiny apartment and a mother who works double shifts. They leave, and Maya stands there, watching the SUV disappear, taking half of her soul with it. Lucas puts his hand on her shoulder. Breathe. I can't. Lucas, I just handed my daughter over to a man who sees her as a trophy. How will she understand when I don't show up tomorrow? When she realizes I'm not just visiting, she will understand that there are mothers who fight, who never give up. 2 weeks, 14 days, that feel like 14 years. Maya visits Tuesday and Thursday, 2 hours each. Sterile, supervised visitation room. Supervisor sits in the corner, noting interactions as if love could be quantified on a form. Emma is confused. Why don't we go home, Mom? Because you're staying with Daddy now, remember? But I want to go home. I want my bed. I know, darling. I want that too. And Maya can't say more. She can't promise that they'll be back together soon, because she doesn't know if it's true. Between visits, Maya works, obsessively, preparing for the final hearing. Lucas connected her with a pro bono lawyer, Rachel Chen, a young idealist who takes on impossible cases because she believes in justice. Rachel reviews everything. You have a solid case. His visitation history is devastating. 3 times a year, he's not an engaged father. And with the documents Lucas provided about drunk driving, he's going to contest it. Say it was years ago, that things have changed. So we ask, where is the evidence of change? Where are the phone calls? Where is the engagement before getting engaged? Rachel smiles. Maya, you've done the work. Now I need to present. The final hearing is on Monday, exactly 2 weeks after the transfer. Same court, same judge. But this time, Maya has a lawyer. She's prepared. She is organized. Evidence, Mitchell presents first. An appraiser's report showing that Derek's house is superior in material resources. Large bedroom, backyard, safe neighborhood. And Vanessa is thrilled about being a mother figure. But then Rachel stands up. And she is ruthless. Your Excellency, Material resources do not replace parental ties. And Mr. Torres has consistently demonstrated a lack of ties. She places documentation on the table. In 24 months, he visited his daughter 11 times, an average of 1 visit every 2 months. He forgot both of her birthdays. He was late with child support payments 18 times. Mitchell objects. Financial circumstances: Mr. Torres owns a $90,000 Mercedes. Clearly, it's not a financial issue. It's a matter of priorities. Emma wasn't a priority until she became convenient for his new relationship. Rachel continues. And about stability. Mr. Torres has 3 documented cases of drunk driving, all resolved by family connections. That doesn't suggest a man with sound judgment to be responsible for a young child. The judge raises an eyebrow. Those cases were dismissed. They were buried. But the documentation exists. And it raises the question, what other irresponsible behaviors is Mr. Torres hiding? Mitchell is sweating now. That's irrelevant. Years ago, a pattern of irresponsibility is always relevant in determining custody. Rachel turns to Maya. Meanwhile, Mrs. Torres works 2 jobs to provide. She's never missed a rent payment. She's never left Emma without food, care, or love. There are testimonials from teachers, pediatricians, neighbors all, attesting to her dedication. She puts down a stack of letters. These are 23 testimonials from people who saw Mrs. Torres become a mother. Not in 2 weeks of performative acts. In 2 consistent years. The judge reads, neutral face, but processing the information. Rachel concludes, Your Excellency, the system often equates money with parenting ability. But Emma doesn't need a princess room. She needs a mother who knows her, who knows she's afraid of the dark, but loves dinosaurs, who sings a specific song before bed, who is present. That mother is Maya Torres. Silence, long, heavy. The judge finally speaks. Mr. Torres, you visited your daughter 11 times in 2 years. How do you plan to be a primary father if you haven't been a present father? Derek stammers. Distance. Work. A distance that apparently disappeared when convenient. The judge doesn't hide her disapproval. In these drunk driving cases, they were dismissed, but the documentation suggests a pattern of irresponsibility. Mitchell interjects. Your Excellency, my client acknowledges past mistakes but is committed now. Committed now, after neglecting his daughter for 2 years. Judge closes file. Primary custody remains with the mother. The father will have supervised visitation 1 weekend per month until he demonstrates consistent commitment for a minimum period of 6 months. Then we will reassess. Maya almost fainted from relief. She won. Emma goes home. Rachel shakes her hand. Congratulations, you fought, and you won. But when they leave the courthouse, Mitchell is waiting. He approaches Maya, low voice, threatening. This isn't over. My client will appeal. And next time, we'll be better prepared. We'll find something we always do. A small slip-up, being late for school, an overdue bill, something, and when we find it, we'll come back. And we'll bleed you dry until you can't fight anymore. A veiled threat, a promise of continuous war. Because men with money don't accept losing, and the system allows them to fight indefinitely. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject. Because what happens in the days following Maya's victory is not celebration, it's not relief. It's constant vigilance. It's the weight of knowing that victory was temporary, and that Derek is out there, planning, waiting, preparing his next attack. Lucas goes to Maya's apartment that night. She's sitting near the window, not in a comfortable chair, but on a stool that offers a perfect view of the street. A position that allows her to see who's approaching. The position of someone who has learned that security is an illusion, and vigilance is a necessity. Emma is asleep. Lucas peeks through the half-open bedroom door. The child is wrapped in a blanket, a stuffed rabbit securely in her arms. At peace. Oblivious to the danger lurking nearby. You won, Lucas says softly, not wanting to scare him. You should be celebrating. Maya didn't turn around, her eyes fixed on the street below. I won a battle, not a war. Victory is victory, not when the enemy has infinite resources. Now, she turns, and Lucas sees exhaustion. Not physical though, that's present too, but existential exhaustion from someone who fought so hard and knows that the fight never truly ends. Mitchell stopped me as I was leaving the courthouse. He said Derek is going to appeal, that they'll keep trying until they find something, and Lucas, it's because he has infinite money, infinite lawyers. And I have, what? Rachel worked pro bono this time, but next time, she has other cases. She can't defend me indefinitely, so we found another way. What form? The system is designed to favor those with resources. Derek can appeal, he can sue again, he can hire 10 lawyers if he wants. And each time, it bleeds. More money I don't have, more energy I don't have left. More time away from Emma worrying instead of being present. Lucas sits beside her, not too close, respecting her space, but present. There's more than love, there's truth. Truth didn't win today. Evidence won. Documentation. Organized testimonies. And next time, they'll be better prepared. They'll handle evidence better. They'll find an expert willing to say that a small apartment causes childhood trauma. They'll build a case I can't refute without resources I don't have. And Lucas can't disagree, because she's absolutely right. The system favors not those with moral reason, but those with the capacity to fight indefinitely. And a war of attrition always favors the side with more ammunition. So we prepared ourselves, he finally says. We documented everything. Every interaction with Emma. Every visit from Derek or lack thereof. Every bill paid. Every doctor's appointment. Every consistent moment of motherhood. We built such a complete record that the next lawyer won't find a loophole. For how long? Maya's voice breaks. A year, 5. Until Emma grows up and can choose for herself. Lucas, she's 3. 15 years until she can legally decide where she wants to live. I can't spend 15 years looking over my shoulder, waiting for a court case. That's not life. It's prison. No, it's about survival. And sometimes survival is all we have until we find a way to truly live. Maya looks at him, really looks, and she sees not just a well-meaning man offering platitudes. She sees a partner. Someone who understands the weight because he carried a similar burden. Someone who chose to be here, not out of obligation or pity, but for something deeper. Why do you do this? She asks. Not the first time she's asked, but this time she wants a more honest answer. Really, you risked your career, crossed lines, spent weeks helping a virtual stranger. Why? Lucas remains silent for a long moment. Then, because I saw you. Not just the situation. I saw a strength you didn't even realize you had. I saw love so pure that no court could measure it. And I saw the system failing you, the same way it failed my sister. And I thought, not again. Not when I can make a difference. But it became more than that, didn't it? Honesty, Lucas decides. No shields, no professional protections. Yes, it's become more. I care about you. About Emma. In ways that go beyond civic duty or compensation for not having helped. My sister. Lucas, let me finish. Please. He turns to face her. I'm not declaring anything. I'm not asking for anything. I know you're in survival mode. I know relationships are the last thing on your mind. But I want you to know, if Derek comes back, if this escalates again, I'll be here. Not as a sheriff doing you a favor, as someone who cares. As a partner, as whatever you need me to be. Tears streamed down Maya's face. I don't deserve you. I don't deserve this kindness. She deserves more. She deserves a world where a good mother doesn't have to fight for the right to raise her own daughter. Where love is valued more than square meters. Where Derek can't use money as a weapon. Lucas gently wipes away her tear. But while that world doesn't exist, let me be here. Fighting with you. And Maya, exhausted, scared, but no longer alone, nods. Okay, we're in this together. A moment hangs between them, charged, significant, and then Maya leans in, rests her head on Lucas's shoulder, not romantically, but in a gesture of trust, of partnership, of acknowledging that a battle is easier when not fought alone. They stay like that for a long time, comfortable silence, and Maya allows her guard to lower for the first time in weeks. Because here, in this space, with this man, she is safe. What none of them know, what they can't know, as they sit in that small apartment building, fragile hope on a foundation of shared traumas that Derek doesn't accept defeat gracefully. 3 days after the hearing, Derek is in Mitchell's office, but this time, there's a third person, a man in his 40s, short hair, eyes that miss nothing, casual clothes, but a face that says ex-military or ex-cop. Mr. Torres, Mitchell introduces. This is James Keller, private investigator, one of the best. Derek shakes Keller's hand. Can you find something? Something we can use? Keller smiles. Not in a friendly way. Professionally. Everyone has something, Mr. Torres. It's just a matter of looking in the right places. Ex-boyfriends, girlfriends, resentful co-workers, financial transactions that don't add up, moments of questionable judgment captured on photo. Everyone slips up, eventually. I just need to be there when it happens. How long? Give me 6 weeks. Following someone requires patience, establishing patterns, finding vulnerabilities. Keller opens a folder. I've already done preliminary research. Maya Torres works 2 jobs. That means a predictable routine. That means hours when she's tired, vulnerable to mistakes, and she has a small child. Children are unpredictable. They scream in public. They throw tantrums. Right angle, right photo. It can look like negligence. Do you falsify evidence? Derek asks. I don't need to falsify. I just document reality from a specific angle. Maya loses her temper once in a parking lot. Document it. Emma cries because her mother said no to candy. Document it. Enough moments like that, I construct a narrative of an unstable, inappropriate, unfit mother. Mitchell interjects. Obviously. There are ethical issues. Obviously. Keller echoes insincerely. But everything I do is legal. I'm in a public space, documenting observable behavior. If behavior looks bad on camera, well, truth is a matter of perspective. Derek smiles. His first real smile since losing custody. How much do you charge? 10,000. Half up front, half upon delivery of a complete report with photos, videos, and a timeline. And I guarantee, if there's something to find, I'll find it. Derek doesn't hesitate. You're hired. And as he signs the check, as he sets in motion a machine that will track Maya's every move, document every human imperfection, transform normal motherhood into evidence of inadequacy, Derek feels profound satisfaction, because he doesn't just want custody. He wants destruction. He wants to prove that Maya is exactly what he always said: inadequate, unstable, unworthy. He wants that. When Emma grows up and asks, "Why do I live with Daddy?" the answer will be, "Because Mommy couldn't take care of you." And with Keller following, documenting, building a case that no judge can ignore, Derek knows, the next battle won't be fair. It will be a massacre. Maya doesn't know she's being followed. She doesn't notice the black SUV that stops at strategic points during the week. She doesn't notice the camera with a long lens capturing her leaving her apartment, dropping Emma off at daycare, rushing between jobs. She simply lives, works, loves her daughter, rebuilds her life one day at a time. But a hidden truth is being woven around her, an invisible web that will eventually tighten. And when it tightens, there may be no escape, because the war for Emma's soul is not over. It has simply entered a more dangerous phase, and this time, love may not be enough to defeat the machine Derek set in motion. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because what happens in the following weeks is not peace, it's deceptive calm. It's the eye of the storm where Maya finally has Emma back. Can finally breathe. But instinct, that hypervigilance Lucas noticed in the park months ago, tells her something is wrong. That silence is not victory. It's preparation for a bigger storm. Maya returns to her routine. Veterinary clinic during the day. Restaurant 3 nights a week. Emma at daycare. Then with Donna, Martha. Then in Maya's arms where she belongs. Life isn't perfect. It never was. But it's theirs. Honest, real, built with love instead of obligation. Lucas keeps showing up. Not every day, they both need space, normalcy, but regularly. Thursday night dinner has become an unspoken tradition. He brings food, always a variety, always considering Emma's tastes as well. And they talk. About everything. About nothing. About fears that don't disappear just because the hearing was won. I saw a strange car on the street yesterday, Maya mentions casually one night. Emma is asleep. They are in the small room, leftover Thai food on the table. What kind of car? Black SUV. Tinted windows. It was parked there. She points to the window. I didn't think much of it at the time. But today, I actually saw the car in the daycare parking lot. And then, near the restaurant, Lucas feels the alarm go off. License plate. I didn't look. Probably paranoia. Derek left me like this always, expecting the next attack. Or instinct. Don't ignore instinct. Lucas picks up the phone. I'll check. Discreetly. See if there's cause for concern. And there is one. Lucas discovers it in 2 days. James Keller, a private investigator known in legal circles. Not for his ethics, for his effectiveness. A man who documents truth from angles that make innocent people seem guilty. Lucas doesn't tell Maya immediately. He doesn't want to scare her. But he begins his own counter-surveillance. He notices when Keller is following. He documents it. Because if Derek is building a case, Lucas will build evidence of harassment. And life goes on in this strange balance. Maya living, Keller observing. Lucas protecting in ways Maya doesn't fully see, until it happens. It's Saturday afternoon. Supermarket. Maya is tired, double shift on Friday. Little sleep. Emma is irritable, skipped her nap. She's also very tired. And when Maya says no to the candy Emma wants, the child does what 3-year-olds do. Throws a tantrum, loud crying. I want IT. I want IT. Maya kneels down. She tries to calm down. Emma, we've talked about this. Too much sugar makes your stomach hurt. I don't care. I want it. And Maya, exhausted beyond patience, does what exhausted parents do. She picks up Emma, who is now kicking and screaming, and carries her out of the store. Not gently, not perfectly, but necessary. Emma screams all the way to the car. You're mean. I want my daddy. Words pierce through, but Maya breathes. She puts Emma in her seat. She waits for the tantrum to pass, which Desma cries, then calms down, then apologizes the way children do when their emotions subside. I'm sorry, Mom. I love you. I love you too, darling. Always. What Maya doesn't see. Keller in a nearby car. Camera capturing everything. Angle that makes it look like Maya dragged a crying child. Audio that captures your evil. I want my daddy. But no reconciliation 2 minutes later. And so it goes. Weeks of documentation. Maya arriving 5 minutes late to pick up Emma once impossible. Traffic, but Keller documents it. Emma with a scraped knee from falling in the park, a normal accident, but the photo suggests inadequate supervision. Maya having a moment of visible frustration when the bill doesn't balance at the end of the month. The captured expression suggests instability. Keller constructs a narrative. Meticulous, devastating. And when she delivers the report to Derek 6 weeks later, it's a cruel work of art. 37 documented incidents. None individually is disqualifying, but a pattern. A pattern suggests an overwhelmed, struggling mother, unable to provide consistent care. Derek reads. He smiles. Is that enough? To challenge a previous decision? Absolutely. Mitchell will love it. If you've made it this far, if this story of a mother fighting against a broken system, of protection arriving when least expected, of love being tested by a legal machine designed to favor money over dedication, has touched you, you understand why stories like this need to be told. Because it's not about an easy, happy ending. It's about the reality faced by thousands of parents, especially single mothers, who confront exactly that. A system that measures square meters instead of hugs, that values bank accounts over consistency, that allows the resourceful side to bleed the other dry until they give up from sheer exhaustion. If this kind of story resonates with you, if you want to continue exploring these truths about protection, systemic injustice, and what happens when ordinary people face opponents with infinite resources, then signing up here is the way to keep walking with me. Because Maya's journey isn't over, and you'll want to know how she faces what comes next. Comment below, "I'm with you until the end." Because when you leave that comment, you're saying more than just that you liked the story. You're saying that you believe in Maya, that you understand that motherhood under surveillance is real trauma, that you recognize that the legal system can be used as a weapon, and that sometimes all a person struggling needs is to know they're not alone. And look, if this touched you in any way, if you felt anger at the broken system, fear for what Keller is building, hope for the partnership between Maya and Lucas, leave a like, so I know. It's not about numbers, it's about knowing that this story mattered, that it resonated, that it made you feel something real. And there's a video over here that continues in the same vein, exploring these dynamics of protection, legal manipulation, and what happens when love confronts a machine designed to destroy. Click and follow along there. Because the war for Emma's soul is only just beginning. And you'll want to be here when Derek presents Keller's report in court. When Maya realized she had been followed for weeks. When Lucas has to decide, how far will he cross the line to protect the woman he loves? Because yes, he loves her, even though he hasn't said it yet. And Maya, she's about to discover that survival sometimes requires impossible choices. Type, run away with Emma, disappear, start over where Derek can't find you, or stay, fight, and risk losing everything. Stories that matter deserve to be told to the end. And this, it's far from over. See you next time.